Hey friends, welcome back. This is Ashley
and Kevin
from Uncommon Roots Homestead, and today we are going to be over in the garden hilling up some potatoes and just doing some general maintenance. But first, we have not spent time just kind of looking at the farm in a long time, like a long time. So we were gonna go and just see the animals and see what's going on, and I figured I'd bring you guys with us, so let's do it. They're getting so big. Let's go see them. So our coonies, they're growing pretty fast. I mean, they're still tiny. We were talking to somebody today and they were like, oh, you're tiny little pigs. I'm like, well, they're not that small, but I guess they're not that big.
You still can't reach their water.
No, don't hit that. It's on. They get really excited when we get over here, and they have been known to touch the electric fence because they know we turn it off when we come over, but it's not off yet. Oh, he's gonna get it. The sounds that pigs make are like excessive. They're hilarious. But it's like, I mean, I know that pigs oink. Everybody knows that. But it's just like different than I guess I thought it would be. And they're very vocal when they think you're coming to feed them or even just to like say hello. Coonies are super friendly. They love a good belly rub. So anytime we walk over there, they're like, yes, yes, yes. And they say that in oinking. It's pretty loud. There's my little milk monster too. Hey Daisy, hey Jeannie. Hi Fear. So we are officially to the point in our farm journey that we have to do morning and evening chores. Yeah. I feel like it kind of happened out of nowhere. All of a sudden, now we have to be here twice a day. But I think it also is that it's summer, so it's hot. Right now it's actually pretty mild, but normally it's pretty hot right now. And we have pigs that want water, and I don't know. I can't wait to live here.
Have fans today. It might be a little bit.
Then it's not
might be cool enough. Yeah. Cool enough for they don't need it.
Okay, I have a question. What is your favorite part of the farm?
Oh, that's a good question. Like my favorite animal, favorite plant.
Just like your favorite
just
part
favorite thing
of the
to
farm.
do here?
Yeah.
I don't know. I actually really enjoy the pigs. I think they're fun.
Yeah.
They're kind of funny. It's probably the most fun I've had is taking care of them. They're just fun to watch. They eat everything. They make funny noises. They're cute to look at. That may change over time, but as of now, I really enjoy the pigs.
Yeah.
They were easy to set up. Like I put up that fence and it was really easy transition to our farm.
Their little hutch was super easy too. You just took a cattle panel and like framed the bottom, right?
Yeah, that's really it. Might be recency bias too though. They're new.
Yeah, true.
So.
I mean, yeah, because Daisy and Jeannie aren't hard.
No.
Everybody is like fairly easy. Like every animal that we have on the farm is pretty easy at this point. There's nothing that requires a ton of care or attention like on a day in, day out basis. It's mostly just like monitoring and feeding and watering.
I can tell you what my least favorite part is.
Oh gosh, it's gonna be cleaning the chicken coop?
No, that needs to be done. No, it's driving here is my least favorite part.
Yeah, for sure.
All these chores would be exponentially easier.
And we could both do them. If we lived here and could like leave the kids in the house and just walk down. I mean, the house, like that sounds like, oh, you're gonna leave your kids, but like the house is right there.
Right here, it's on the same property.
It's like, yeah, not even just the same property. Like it's right here. It's basically in the pasture.
Yeah.
That would definitely be easier because right now we pretty much have to like split shift. one of us do the morning chores, one of us do the evening chores, unless my parents have the kids like they do tonight. And then we're both here. And that's why we were kind of like, we have not spent any time just like walking around the farm and looking at everything and talking about it, because we're always just like rush to get everything done.
Yeah.
And that's definitely just like something that's happening in this season. Like next year, we'll be able to come out here with our coffee on Saturday mornings and walk and see everything. And
Well, one thing we've talked about too recently is that our July has been really busy.
yeah, not a farmer's July. Like this,
No.
we did not have a farmer's July this year.
And one thing we'll probably talk about, maybe in a later video, is like things that we would change going forward, things we did well, things we could improve upon from 2021. And I think one thing that we've already discussed is that July and August we will not pack with
No travel
or,
like limited guests. I mean, we're so blessed that we've had so many people that we love come visit us this month, and like, but we also had like 2 trips in July, went to Florida and we're going to New York, and like that's just a lot to pack into arguably the busiest month on a farm, because it's hot, so all of the animals need extra attention to make sure that they're not overheating. Like we have to make sure that the pigs have water all the time, and making sure everybody is eating and like staying healthy in the heat of the summer. And then on top of that, the garden is like starting peak production. And like we just walked through for just a second, and there are dozens of things that need to be picked. And so leaving is really hard right now, and it's only going to get harder. And so definitely next year, no travel in July and August. And anyone who wants to come visit is like coming to the farm, right? Like not
coming to
they're coming to the farm. Yeah, it's not going to be like tourist adventure. We just can't sacrifice that time this time of year. He's scratching. brother. He's just spilling the water as he scratches.
That's all right. They can't drink it anyway.
They're too short. He's actually getting almost tall enough, I think.
They're close.
He had a quite the edge. Hey, girls. Hi. How you doing? You ready to go eat? I'm gonna milk you, Jean. So one of the things that we need to do while we're enjoying our farm, if Fury gives us a second without barking, is that we need to measure out, because we need to start separating Daisy from Jeannie. I am not getting very much milk because Daisy is a milk monster. So what we're thinking is that we're actually going to put a gate on the front of this barn and put Daisy in the barn at night. So separate them 12 hours over the evening. I'll come in the morning, milk Jeannie, and hopefully we'll get a more substantial amount of milk that way. So that's our plan, but Kevin needs to figure out the construction of this barn. There's not like a 2x4 on the side, so we just need to find a good way to mount a gate that's going to be secure. So we might actually put posts down in the ground. Our thought is maybe putting like a post right here and a post over there, and then mounting the gate to that, so kind of having it be separate but really close. We'll see, but we need to do something in the next, what, Kevin, like 2 weeks?
Probably.
Ideally, yeah, because I don't want to get to the point where Daisy starts self-weaning or like just not drinking as much, and then Jeannie's production goes down. So we're kind of in that like sweet spot where she's 7, almost 8 weeks old, so we got to get on it. He's measuring. He is measuring. The beauty of technology. I actually just milked Jeannie because when we pulled up, her back quarter was like super full. I was actually afraid that maybe she was developing mastitis because I haven't milked since before we went to Florida, which at this point, gosh, is almost a week. Be a week tomorrow, or week Thursday. So, and yeah, so a week tomorrow. So anyways, I'm glad that I milked her. It was not mastitis. I just caught her right before Daisy ate dinner. So we got, what, Kevin, you think half a gallon? Out of 1/4, which tells me that she is going to make a great milk cow when we can separate the milk monster. And as you can see, she is eating some grain right now. So she's ready to be weaned. You can wean a calf. I mean, technically you can wean them early, but at 6 weeks, they're ready to start eating food. They're already eating grass, but you could start feeding them grain if you wanted. They're drinking water. They don't need to nurse anymore. We're gonna leave her on. We want a calf share. Like we said before, our schedule is way too busy to not do that. Like, I need the ability to not milk if my schedule doesn't allow for it. But what I want to be able to do is when I do milk, get at least half a gallon, because when you're coming out here for like a pint or a quart, it's a lot of work for a little bit of milk. And with the drive and everything else that you have to factor into it, it's just not really worth it for me. Especially because, you know, for us to be able to, it's just not worth it. So, you know, we drink more milk than that. So at that point, we're still going to the store. So once we start separating this little milk monster, I'm pretty sure Jeannie is going to give me at least a gallon, probably a gallon and a half when all 3 of her good quarters are full. That's going to be so great. I can do that 3 times a week, let them stay together full time the rest of the time. And that's ultimately going to give us the ability to still have that flexibility and also do things like make cheese and yogurt and things we haven't had enough milk to do. So pretty excited about that. Today was a good day to come out here and see Jeannie. And now I think we're going to continue our farm tour adventure. Yeah. And then we got to go hill potatoes, which I honestly have been putting off. I am not a huge fan of hilling potatoes, but you guys asked to see it, so that's what we're gonna do. This back section might be my favorite part of the farm, but I also love the garden. You guys know I love the garden. But look at these guys, and it's all right here. So Jeannie's pasture is about 1.25 acres. So Dexter's are small breed cattle. They only need half an acre each. So we actually have room for like 2.5 cows back in that pasture. We own this triangle back over here. Eventually our goal is to fence that off so that we can maybe run a bull in there or open that up so that the cows have more space. We want to rotationally graze, which would mean we would move them from here eventually to this pasture where the house is back there. And then also there's a second pasture or a third pasture up there that we want to rotationally graze to as well. So we have a lot of long-term plans here. This space, the cleared acreage, is about 6 acres. And then we have 8 acres back in the woods. The pigs are happy with just their little bit here in the front, and then they have a lot of space back in the woods as well. So our goal is to hopefully run the pigs in the woods mostly, and then leave the rest of the space to cows, gardens, things like that. All right, so we are down here. We're about to go get the eggs from the chicken coop, which I actually don't do very often because I'm terrified of George. So there's that, but he serves a purpose for right now. But I wanted to show you guys, look at my Jerusalem artichokes. So Jerusalem artichokes are also called sunchokes. They are a start root vegetable. So you eat the tuber, you don't actually eat the flowers, but they're related to sunflowers. So those will actually have like really beautiful yellow flowers. And then you can dig up their tubers towards the end of the season. They're super invasive as well. So that's why I didn't put them up in the garden. A, I didn't want them to shade out any of my other plants. And B, because they're super invasive, I didn't want them popping up in all of the other beds or, you know, the other spaces that I have reserved for other things. So I think this will be a perfect spot, even if they do kind of climb out of their raised bed. They're not going to do any damage here. I mean, they're either going to end up in like the wooded side area we have or back in the chicken coop, and then the chickens will eat them. So I will probably not harvest any of my Jerusalem artichokes this year. I'm going to let them continue to, fly that's coming at me. I'll let them continue to grow and kind of develop some established tubers, and then I'll harvest some of them next year and then leave more so that they continue to come back. So very excited about those. They're cooked common, pretty similar to a potato, but they're, woo, George. And that's George's son. 2 Georges. They're both on borrowed time. Both on borrowed time.
29. 30, 31.
How many were we supposed to have? Counting chickens. How many were we supposed to have? 35.
33.
1, 2, 3.
34.
These roosters. I never thought I would be afraid of our chicken coop, but yet here we are. So the reason that we're leaving George and his son here for now, even though they terrify me, is because they are serving a purpose. We don't live here right now. There are predators here in the area, and having roosters do keep down predators and like I'm gonna go ahead and hill up these potatoes. So what I'm gonna do is fill the wheelbarrow, bring the compost in, and just start piling this up. And it probably will take like 8 to 10 wheelbarrows full. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that right now. Okay, so I'm exhausted. I just hilled both of those rows of potatoes. I got my potatoes in late this year, so this is late to be hilling them. But basically, what you do when you hill potatoes is when they start to get ideally like 4 to 6 inches above the ground, like they've grown 4 to 6 inches, you want to cover them back up with dirt until there's only a couple inches showing. Now, I had waited way too long, so these plants were like way taller than that. So what I did is just added about 6 inches of soil to the entire rows. I'm not expecting a ton this year out of my potatoes. They were super late in, but I wanted to get them in the ground mostly because if you don't put them in, then you didn't try at all. And so I wanted to make sure that I tried. You guys have seen the garden. You see everything that there is to be done. And right now it's just me really working on the garden because Kevin is doing everything else on the farm in his free time. And sometimes he helps with things, like he helped with the infrastructure in the garden, but when it comes to really taking care of the plants and things like that, that's something that I pretty much do by myself. And right now I just don't have a lot of time between the kids and work and driving here. It's just very full. So I do what I can, and I want to encourage you to do the same. I know I talk about it a lot, but the whole purpose of what we're doing here is trying to encourage people that you don't have to choose a side. You can be a full-time working mom. You can be a full-time mom. You can be a full-time dad. You can be a working dad, and you can still pursue this sustainable lifestyle. You can still garden. You can still have animals. There's a way to balance these things, but a huge part of that is coming to terms with imperfection and being willing to say, you know what, I got them in the ground about 2 months late. I should have hilled them probably a month ago, but they're in the ground, they are hilled, and they will produce potatoes. And so it's one of those things, just like the squash that's out of control or the tomatoes that are falling over and are so badly in need of a pruning. They're still producing fruit, and we're still going to be able to sustain our family in this space. And every year that we do this is a learning opportunity. And next year I'm going to have a little bit more time. We're going to live here. I'll be able to, come out in the middle of the day and kind of take things piece by piece. And that's just not what this season holds, and I'm okay with that. And so I hope that whatever season you're in, whatever you're walking through right now, that you find peace in being able to let go of perfection. And if you're type A like me, that can be super hard because I want everything to be perfect. I don't ever want to, give half of myself to anything. But here in this space, I know that this is a sanctuary for me, and I know that I'm called to do this, and I know that I'm called to give whatever of me I have remaining, and sometimes that's not a lot, but it's enough. And so I want to encourage you that whatever you have to give is enough. Even if it's just one pot on your balcony, it's enough. And it's a start, and it is planting seeds of growth and dreams that will grow into something beautiful. And I'm so excited to share this harvest with you. And the coolest thing about all of this and all of the imperfection happening in this space is that this year we are tracking how much food we bring in from this specific garden. And to date, just here at the beginning of harvest season, we are already over 40 pounds of food coming out of this space. So I hope that encourages you that you can grow a substantial amount of food, even if you don't have a ton of time. Anyways, I'm gonna go check on Kevin. I think he's down there cleaning the chicken coop. I also need to harvest some things out of my garden. So I'm gonna leave you here. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you for taking a spot in our Ranger as we drove around the land. Thank you for joining me at your space in my garden. You always have a seat here. Until next time.